Picture this. After defeating the god of time Kronos, you've been sent forward 200 years into ancient Greece. But this time, a new form of tyranny has risen. The god of thunder, Zeus, who now commands Hades and Poseidon from atop Mount Olympus. Can I climb to the summit under the wrath of Zeus and Hades? Stay tuned to find out. Also, my goal is to reach 1 million subscribers this year, so if you go on to enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe to join me on my adventures. On the morning of day 101, I woke up in the middle of nowhere. I seemed to have all my stuff from the previous 100 days and woke up underneath some massive cherry blossom tree. I did not recognize this area at all. How much time had passed since I fought Kronos? I then recognized a nearby landmark, and also here's a free code for the Cloudberry cloak available on Lunar Client. I approached the nearby landmark and recognized it immediately. This is the place where I found the book describing the relationship between Kronos and his children. I definitely didn't remember there being a massive cherry blossom tree right next to it. While traveling back home, I also noticed a massive corpse on the ground.
What is this? Wait, this can't be. Is that the Thunderwing Titan? It looks like it. It has to be the same one from 100 Days on One Cloud, right? It's definitely not alive.
After admiring the corpse of the Thunderwing Titan, and after about a day more of travel, I finally made it back to where my base was. I immediately recognized Zeus's shrine, used my Thunderbolt to take out a zombie, and everything seemed pretty overgrown. There was vines all over my buildings, including the Poseidon shrine. It's definitely a sign that a lot of time had passed. There's even a bunch of cobwebs inside of my buildings. Despite all the vines and cobwebs, everything seemed to be intact though, so I got to work on enchanting my first diamond axe. After getting efficiency 4 and breaking 3 on my axe, I harvested my melons, netherwort, and sugarcane farm. I then enchanted a diamond shovel with efficiency 3, fortune 2, and then with my efficiency 4 axe, I started to take out a bunch of birch trees around my base. I wanted to start gathering materials to start making a much larger base. After getting a bunch of birch, I decided to get a bunch of spruce from the spruce tree biome, as I definitely wanted a mixture of both for my next build. I found an open area next to my lake, and using dirt and gravel, I terraformed the surrounding area. Now that I had a pretty flat area to work with, I decided to use stone brick and birch for the foundation of this new build. I have to admit, I was getting a little bit too ambitious with the size of this build, so it took me a few days just to lay down this foundation. However, I knew the end result was going to be worth it, so I decided to take a little break from building and went back over to my Poseidon shrine. I grabbed some goodies out of the chest and decided to try and contact Poseidon by making an offering to him. I was hoping maybe I could get some answers of what was going on in the world, assuming I would get a response. After some time had passed, there was no sign of Poseidon until I heard a noise.
What? That's not Poseidon. Is that a turtle? Wait, he has a little messenger hat on. What the heck? Oh, wait, what? Were turtles really the fastest thing you could get, Poseidon? I guess I'll read this book. That was strange. It says Children of the Sea.
I then opened the book from the strange messenger turtle, and it read, Dear Children of the Sea, I'll be away for some time. The seas have seen unrest
since the fall of Kronos. Zeus has tasked me to investigate a strange rift in the sea. I will return soon.
And the book was signed by Poseidon. I was guessing that meant Poseidon was out of town or something. I decided to put the book away at my base and refill my cow and sheep pens with livestock again. So for the next day, I searched for some cows, finally found some, and started to bring them over all the way back to my base. But while bringing them back to my base, I started to get hit by something. Turned around and there were bulls attacking me. I did not remember these existing before. They actually did pretty good damage too, so I had to play a little bit safe. Luckily, my weapon was pretty strong, so I managed to defeat all the bulls. I then finished bringing over the cows back to my base and started to breed them. I also made sure to find some sheep. After bringing those over to my base, I went to sleep. The next day, while looking for some more animals, I found some chickens. So I stuck them in a temporary pen and started to build them a nice little chicken coop. I also decided to lay down a layer of hoppers inside the chicken coop so I'd have a nice source of eggs. I then led the chickens back into the coop, and it was complete. Maybe I can make some cake with this stuff later. I then spent the rest of day 110 finishing the flooring of my new mansion. And after doing that, I decided I'd need a lot more materials for the rest of my base, so I went out to chop a bunch more wood, gather leaves, and while doing so, I got attacked by bears.
What is going on with all this wildlife attacking me?
This time I made sure to use my Zeus's lightning bolt and my trident to keep them away, and defeated them fairly easily. However, I also found some bears that were around my chicken coop. Hopefully they hadn't actually gotten in and killed all my chickens. I kited them around a bit, kept using my trident and lightning bolt, and I finally managed to defeat all the bears. After making sure all my chickens were alive, at the start of day 114, I began working on my mansion again. This time I wanted to finish the entire mansion, so I started off on the second layer walls, and then after finishing that, I started to work on the interior. I also made sure to add balconies on either side, and began working on the rooftop. I have to admit, I went a little bit too ambitious with this building, as it took me a lot longer than anticipated. created, but after finishing up the roof and seeing what I had created, I was pretty satisfied with the final product. It had plenty of room for all sorts of things to be put in here. And for the rest of day 119, I began to furnish the interior of my base. This time I was going to be a lot more organized with item frames, and I began moving over all the loot from my previous base into my brand new mansion. And after moving the enchantment station into the mansion and organizing the rest of the chests, I ended up getting a flash of inspiration and decided to collect sand for a whole day so that I could start working on my next build. I also created a bunch of white concrete, and after collecting all those materials, I returned back to my skeleton grinder so that I could grind out some levels to do some enchanting. I managed to get an efficiency 4 silk touch 1 and a fortune 3. I then returned to the top of the volcano right next to my old base so I could collect a ton of quartz for this next build. My plan was to create a shrine to Helios, god of the sun. With so many different kinds of gods in ancient Greece, I really wanted to do my best to try and contact them all. So I started off building the base of the shrine and built pillars around the entire shrine's perimeter. Once that was complete, I began working on the roof of the shrine, of course adding a little bit of molding first. And because this was a shrine to Helios, the god of the sun, I made sure to add a glass dome with some red and yellow accents. Last but not least was finishing the interior dome. On day 128, I had finally completed my shrine. The next step was to try and contact Helios, but I was going to need to prepare some sort of offering first. I started by putting glistering melons, magma cream, glowstone, and a golden apple in the center. For the remaining spots, I put glowstone and waited until noon, where the sun would be at its highest point. It wasn't long after until fire particles surrounded the chest above it. But there was a strange looking object descending down as well. It almost looked like a little star or mini sun. The chest then opened up, so I tried speaking to the star.
Hello?
Hello there. What do you seek to receive from the god of the sun?
Oh, well, it seems like a lot has changed around ancient Greece since I've last been here. The last thing I remember doing was being on a cloud, and now I'm here. I'm basically just looking for some knowledge on what's happening now. Is Kronos, the god of time, still around?
Kronos? Well, he's long gone. The ruler of the gods is now Zeus. However,
Well, what's happened with Zeus?
he's been very upset about something, and he's taking it out on his children. His favorite pet, the Thunderwing Titan, was slain recently, which has caused him to be like this.
I did run into some massive bird's corpse on the ground on the way back to my base. Could that have been it?
In fact, that may have been it. How many wings exactly did it have?
It had a ton of wings. I can't remember the exact amount.
If you happen to remember where the corpse was, could you extract some of its blood? I may be able to revive him, and that should restore Zeus's mood back to normal.
Sure, but how do I do that?
Just use some glass bottles, they'll work fine.
Okay, I'll do my best.
And make sure to get a few bottles just in case.
Alright, will do.
And so my quest to find a Thunderwing Titan's corpse began. I started by grabbing some more glass bottles out of my brewing supplies chest, and only after a couple days of travel, I finally found the Thunderwing Titan's corpse. When I interacted with it with glass bottles, I ended up receiving Thunderwing Titan's blood. I made sure to get a few extra bottles like Helios instructed, and after a couple more days of travel, I finally made it back to my base.
Helios, I've got the Thunderwing Titan's blood. What's next?
Great, now hand over the bottle to me. I'll do my best to try and revive him. Go ahead and keep the rest, I won't be needing it.
Alright, here you go. Can you let me know if he's been revived as well?
Of course, just pray at my shrine a few days from now, and I'll definitely let you know.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Helios.
So once I was done speaking with Helios, he took the Thunderwing Titan's blood out of the chest and left me with one of my own. So I grabbed the blood out of the chest and watched as Helios ascended back into the sky. Now that Helios was gone, I was kind of confused what I used the extra Thunderwing Titan blood for, but I decided to hold on to it for now. I then decided to go farm my wheat farm for some extra bread. I then grabbed my Silk Touch pick out of the chest, enchanted a Fortune 3 diamond pickaxe, and an efficiency 4 on Breaking 3 diamond shovel. Now that I had a lot better tools, I decided to go mining for a couple days to get some extra materials. I got all kinds of ores including diamonds, emeralds, and gold. I returned back to base on day 135 and smelted up all my ores. I then decided to switch some of my armor to my old diamond armor set, as my Poseidon armor was almost broken and I had no way of repairing it for now. I then decided to make shears and start clearing vines off of my shrine to Zeus so I could prepare another offering to contact Zeus once more. So I decided to give him the rest of the Thunderwing Titan blood I had gotten, and then while waiting patiently, enchantment particles started to surround the chest. After waiting for a while, clouds began to form around the chest and lightning had struck it, and out of nowhere Zeus, the god of thunder, appeared in person.
What do you call upon me for, mortal?
Zeus, it's been a while since I contacted you, but I have something in the chest that I think will cheer you up. It's kind of a long story, but Helios actually...
You killed my Thunderwing Titan?
Huh? No, I didn't.
You'll pay with your soul!
Hold on, Zeus. I can explain this. Let's not commit to any violence! Oh, man. What? Where am I? What's going on? Who the heck are you? This does not look familiar. Wait a minute. No. Zeus! Whoa, what the heck? You gotta be kidding me. Where the heck did I end up? Hey, get back here! Oh no, it's gonna get away. Come on, get back here. Wait, what? I can't get through. It's closed off. You've gotta be joking. Where did I end up? Oh no, this can't be. Am I in Tartarus?
And little did I know, Zeus banished me to one of the lowest levels of Tartarus, Crimson City.
Oh no, you gotta be kidding me. How the heck do I get out of this place? Did he take my lightning bolt too?
After realizing I had lost some of my items, I knew escaping was not going to be easy. After looking around, I noticed there were some particles around this lava fountain, so I walked up to them and got night vision. Well, at least that was going to help me see down here. After receiving night vision, I went down the steps and was greeted by some piglins. So I took out the 2 piglins, but then was greeted by something even larger.
No way. Is that Cerberus? All right, well, I'm not going anywhere near there.
After deciding to get away from Cerberus, Cerberus happens to be a 3-headed dog that is Hades' closest companion, so I was not trying to mess with that. I decided to try and explore Crimson City and see if there was some sort of way out. I just kept running into dead ends and piglins. Eventually I ran into some hoglins too, which I took out. Strangely enough, there was some chorus fruit down here, so I mined up all the chorus fruit and the endstone, and afterward continued down the blackstone path. Surprisingly, there was a lot of residential homes that the piglins were living out of. I decided to investigate some of the homes to see if there was anything inside. To my surprise, there was a shulker box, so I took that shulker box and kept on looking around. I then went inside another building which had a golden apple on top of a golden block. So I took all the materials and continued exploring Crimson City. Eventually I found a back entrance into some sort of blacksmith area. There was tons of gold lying around. So I picked up all the gold and I eventually found an anvil with a book on top of it. The book was titled Hephaestus. I then opened the book and it read, Hephaestus, god of smithing, formerly the greatest craftsman in all of Olympus. In a fit of rage after the Thunderwing Titan had fallen, Zeus banished Hephaestus to Tartarus. He has been imprisoned here for years. And after that, the book just ended. I checked to see who the author was, but it was completely unlegible. So I took the book with me and continued exploring through Crimson City. I found that a lot of the homes were empty, but I eventually reached a bridge where the Cerberus was waiting for me again. Again, I knew better than to confront the Cerberus head on, so I backed away for a bit and found some more gold. I then found myself an ender chest and banked some of my loot in there, but eventually I discovered a brewing room. It had speed potions, fire resistance, regeneration, instant healths, and even some strength potions. I grabbed all the potions out of the brewing stands, found another strange building which had a bone inside one of the chests. It was called Cerberus's chew toy. Immediately the gears started turning in my head. I had a plan now to escape Crimson City. I slowly approached the Cerberus with the bone, and it even took a couple steps towards me.
All right, Cerberus, go get it. Come on, go get the bone. Yes. Go. Go. Okay, I think it's distracted. I'm good. Go. Run.
With the Cerberus now distracted, I made a run for it down the road. After running for a little while, it looked like I reached the very end of Crimson City, found TNT in one of the buildings, so I took that, and found what looked to be the exit of Crimson City. So I took the opportunity and ran down the hill. I knew it was going to be tough to find my way out, and after a couple days of running around and digging through walls, I still hadn't found the exit. That was until I climbed a hill, and at the very top, the Cerberus was waiting for me. I guess a 3-headed dog has a pretty good sense of smell. I drank both of my potions and began to battle the Cerberus. I was very happy I still had my trident, but was actually starting to run out of food. Cerberus leapt at me and knocked me back and started to throw magma blocks at me. They did really good damage, so I had to throw down an instant health potion. After getting knocked back, I went in to get more hits with my trident. I was able to knock the Cerberus back, but he pounced at me again, nearly knocking me off the edge. His magma blocks were doing even more damage, so I had to eat a golden apple this time. But after a few more hits, I was able to defeat the Cerberus. Man, if it wasn't for the trident, I'd be dead meat. After defeating the Cerberus, I peered over the edge, and there seemed to be some sort of castle down there. Maybe that's what the Cerberus was trying to prevent me from reaching. I made it down safely with an ender pearl and began to follow the netherrack path. I immediately noticed there was pigment everywhere, but I decided to just go in and see what was inside for myself. The center was empty, but when I turned around, the entrance that I had went through was completely blocked off by bedrock. And that's when the god of the underworld appeared behind me. It was Hades himself.
You escaped Crimson City?
Barely. Your 3-headed friend gave me a lot of trouble, but can I kindly ask you to step aside, please? I really need to talk to Zeus, because I think we had some sort of misunderstanding here.
You're in no position to ask me for any favors. Nothing but chaos has risen since the fall of the Thunderwing Titan, and last I heard, you were the one seen with his blood on your hands.
No, but I was only taking...
Don't try and explain yourself to me. Your banishment to Tartarus speaks for itself. I trust my brother Zeus's judgment, and you will receive divine punishment. Prepare for the worst, mortal.
I guess I have no choice. Whoa!
Just like that, the battle between me and Hades had begun. There was blue fire on the ground that was damaging me, so I drank a fire resistance potion, and Hades was even launching skulls at me. No surprise from the god of the underworld. Even after drinking the fire resistance potion, his blue fire was still able to penetrate through that. Not only that, but he appeared to be giving me hunger debuffs too. I finally managed to close the distance and land some key hits. Then Hades teleported away and spawned in minions. There were skeletons and wither skeletons too. I managed to take those out pretty easily, but they were definitely a nuisance. It didn't help that Hades was attacking me at the exact same time he'd summon in the minions. Hades then rained down a bunch of fire while also summoning in even more minions. This time I recognized one of them. It was that strange skeleton-like creature that escorted me into Crimson City. This guy took a couple extra hits to take out, but I still managed to take it out. I then ate my last piece of food and began to use my bow, which I completely forgot about. Then had to deal with a bunch more of those minions, threw down an instant health potion, and got hit by a meteor. I then took out the other two skeletons, began to bow down Hades once more. After getting him down to half HP, all of a sudden...
Let's not break everything in my castle.
Wait, what? What just happened?
Much better.
Where the heck are we?
Little did I know, Hades had teleported me into his arena. It was time for the final battle to commence against Hades. He started by immediately launching 3 meteors at me, so I drank the regeneration potion I found earlier, started to land some bow shots on him. I then realized my chestplate was dangerously close to breaking, so I decided to eat some food to regen some more, threw another bow shot at Hades, and tried closing the distance. He was making it really tough to even approach him. Eventually, I landed a couple hits, but he knocked me back, so I ate an enchanted golden apple, started to land more bow shots on Hades.
Whoa, what is going on? Oh my goodness. It's a freaking meteor shower. How strong is this guy? I've got to somehow dodge these. Oh no, I'm in lava. Okay, gotta get out of the lava. Come on. Oh my gosh, he summoned even more skeletons. All right, I'm just gonna bow him down. My chestplate's gonna break.
After barely dodging a couple meteors, my chestplate was already on 1 durability, and before I even knew it, it was broken. Did not have a spare one, and I had no idea how I was gonna survive the situation now. First started by taking out the minions, threw down another health pot after taking some damage, and ate my last golden apple. I knew I had to do as much damage as possible, as even more of my armor was gonna break. I started to spam bow shots as quickly as I could, and Hades summoned in even more minions.
You've got to be joking. Come on. He's so low on health.
While getting pelted by arrows, I still managed to close the distance and get some hits, but I got knocked back, and Hades was super low. I then started taking a ton of damage, so I ran away a little bit, and on 3.5 hearts, I landed the last bow shot, defeating Hades. And after taking out the skeletons, I approached Hades' body. I then realized Hades dropped a bunch of armor and a weapon. It was a full suit of Hades battle armor. After putting it all on, it looked really awesome. I then went up the staircase and found a little exit, and right outside the arena was a staircase that led down to a long road. I wasn't sure if Hades was actually dead, considering he was the god of the underworld and all, and I didn't want to take any chances. So I made a run for it down this path, and I was running out of hunger quickly. While making my way up, I remembered this being the exit to Tartarus. I found one of my old pillars, found the exit, and then jumped in.
Oh man, am I glad to be out of there. Well, that was eventful.
I lit up the cave and realized I was way too low to be taking any chances. So I boxed myself into a corner and started to pillar up. And after a little while, I finally hit the surface. Now I was extremely low on hunger. Luckily, I ended up finding some sheep and cows on the way back. And on the morning of day 148, I finally made it back to base. I immediately restocked on food and started crafting pistons for an idea I had for a potential underground bunker. Considering I had ticked off Zeus, it's probably a good idea to have some sort of panic room. So with a bunch of sticky pistons I crafted, I began working on creating the secret room. However, I didn't want it to just be a secret room that led to nothing, so I decided to connect the secret room by digging a tunnel all the way to my other shrines. Of course, I needed to make sure it looked good, so I replaced the ceiling with diorite, and once all the aesthetic touches were done, the way you'd get in is hitting a button on a crafting table, which would open a hidden piston door, and of course I made sure to add a little piston exit as well, and then the staircase led down to a tunnel, which led me up a staircase to my old mine on my old base. It's definitely good to have a little bit of a backup plan in case things go haywire. I then decided with all my levels to start working on enchanting all of my Hades armor that I had gotten. Got protection 4 on my chest, protection 3 on my boots, and protection 4 on my helmet. I then brewed strength and speed potions, but I decided I needed more levels, and I decided in order to travel safely, I needed to use my Hades invisibility helmet, which I had gotten in the previous 100 days, to make sure I don't get spotted by Zeus. I eventually made it over to my skeleton grinder and grinded a bunch of levels. After I was finished, I returned back home, enchanted my Hades Biden with sharpness 4, and got protection 3 on breaking 3 on my pants. Last but not least, I brewed some instant health 2 potions, and after doing that, I decided to do a little bit of exploring. Shortly after, I ended up finding an otter in a little den. I seemed a little bit afraid, so I got some salmon from the river and tried to lure over the otter, which seemed to be working. So after a long afternoon of luring it over, I finally got the otter into my base and decided to put him into the secret compartment. And also make sure to comment down below what you think I should name it. I also went down there with the otter to make sure he couldn't wander off to anywhere dangerous. I then crafted a bunch of rails and went over to the nearby Greek village. I was planning on creating an underground minecart system so I could easily bring over villagers from the Greek village over to my base. So for the next few days, I dug out a fairly long tunnel that led all the way to the Greek village. Once I was finished digging out the tunnel, I placed down all the railways I needed, and then I trapped a villager into one of the minecarts and pushed him into the minecart tunnel. I also decided to give it a test run myself, and the tunnel worked just as intended. I then had a pretty dumb idea, but I felt like it was necessary to do. I decided I'd try and blow up the Zeus shrine to prevent any form of contact between me and Zeus again. So I lit the handful of TNT on the shrine in hopes that it would do some damage, but the result ended up a lot worse because this ended up notifying Zeus, who showed up live in person.
Now, since Hades can finish you off, face the full power of the sky.
How the heck am I supposed to do this?
Even my sharpness 4 Hades weapon barely did any damage. I barely dodged one of his lightning strikes, and Zeus bashed me with his shield again, making me use an instant health potion. I then decided to drink my strength and speed potions in hopes that it would help, but Zeus seemed to be getting even stronger. He knocked me back again. I tried my best to land even more hits on him.
Why does this do no damage?
After landing a ton of hits of strength 2 on, and with Zeus still only down the 10th of his HP, I knew this was not looking good for me. I ate some food to try and regen and threw down my last health potion.
How tanky is this guy? Oh, get out of the way. Okay, that was close.
With no potions left, decided to make an escape. Ender pearled away and ate a chorus fruit, ran inside my base and used my secret compartment to hide underground. I knew at some point this thing would come in handy, and I was really hoping that Zeus wouldn't find me. After waiting for a while underground, put on my Hades invisibility helmet and went back to the surface. I then went to check the coast was clear and began to brew more potions, since I used a ton in that battle against Zeus. I made strength, speeds, and instant health potions, and I then remembered that I had stored stuff inside of an ender chest when I was in Tartarus. So I made an ender chest and got the shulker box and the Hephaestus book that I had gotten. The book gave me a flash of inspiration as to how I could defeat Zeus. But first, I needed to go mining for a few days to get as many ores as I could. After about 4 days of mining, I got a ton of ores in my Fortune 3 pickaxe. I then decided to breed all my chickens in my chicken coop, and my chicken coop had collected so many eggs. I then took out all the gold and iron from the furnaces, repaired my diamond pickaxe, made a couple extra shields, and bred all my animals. I also replenished my food supply and had a pretty good idea of what to build next. Firstly, I wanted to build a little pond underground for my otter so that my otter would have somewhere to play around in. I wanted to make him feel a little bit at home, and it seemed like he liked the pond immediately as he was jumping around a ton. After about a day of planning, I began mining a giant staircase that would be the entrance to my next shrine. This time, I decided to make a shrine to Hephaestus, the god of smithing. The first order of action would be to dig out a giant area where the shrine could be built. After digging out a pretty large area underground, I began planning out the road and center of the build. I still had a little bit more digging to do, so after a couple more days of digging out the ceiling, I finally had myself a canvas to work on. The second order of action would be to get the materials necessary to build the shrine. So for the next couple of days, I went back up to the nearby volcano and mined a bunch of nether quartz, which was going to help me build my shrine. I also made sure to get a bunch of glowstone while I was up here, as I wanted to use that for the build as well. After collecting the supplies necessary, I decided to craft a ton of hoppers to create a mega smelter. Considering I had so much room in my mansion, I wanted to have some sort of automation around, just so I could save on time when it came to things like smelting. All I'd have to do is pop what I want smelted into one of the chests, put in the fuel, flick the lever, and watch it go. And I've got to say, this smelter worked extremely well. Now that my mega smelter was complete, next up was to finish the interior of the shrine to the god of smithing. I made sure to use quartz for the pillars, and used a lot of stone brick in this build as well. I also inlaid a lot of glowstone into the walls for lighting, and added little balconies on either side of the shrine. I then finished up by detailing some of the roof, adding netherrack pillars on the sides, and walling off the center of the shrine. Last but not least, I prepared a bunch of ores I got to make an offering to the god of smithing. And just like that, my shrine to Hephaestus, the god of smithing, was complete. All there was left to do was wait, and eventually diamond ore and lava particles surrounded the chest, and an anvil came crashing down.
Yeah, who awakens me from my slumber?
Hello, Hephaestus. I was actually in search of some help. I just barely escaped Tartarus with my life after defeating Hades, and Zeus is still out to kill me. I could really use the help right now.
Zeus, I have a bone to pick with him. He's the cause of my eternal torment. Zeus banished me to Tartarus.
This kind of sounds like what I read out of the book.
I'd do anything to get back at Zeus, but I'm stuck in this fiery pit of chains. I can help you out, but only if you bring me the materials I need.
What kind of materials are we talking about?
I will need 2 volcanic encrusted ancient debris. Here is the recipe for it.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Hey, don't take too long.
Alright, I'll be quick.
And so I began gathering all the materials I'd need to craft volcanic encrusted ancient debris. I crafted diamond blocks, gold blocks. Last but not least, I needed to find some ancient debris. So I returned to the volcano where I originally built my Hades shrine, and remembered there was an entrance underneath the shrine that led to Tartarus. I decided to jump down into it and make a leap of faith, as this was the only place I could think of that would have ancient debris. Now that I was in Tartarus, I began exploring around and eventually found some ancient debris in the meteors near the exit. After collecting all the ancient debris I needed, I went to the exit of Tartarus and went through, returning back to the overworld, and finally made it back to base on day 191 and crafted myself 2 volcanic encrusted debris. I then went back down to the shrine and put it in the chest, and Hephaestus returned to the shrine.
It's in the chest.
These are the blades of chaos, more than capable enough for defeating a god.
Whoa, these look awesome.
They were forged in flames and originally crafted by Ares. Use these in my stead to climb to the top of Mount Olympus and cut down Zeus for me.
I'll try my best. Mount Olympus, what's this?
After I took the book from the chest, I went back up the stairs and went to immediately enchant my Blades of Chaos. First, I needed to enchant some books, but I eventually got sharpness 4 on both pieces, and I also brewed some extra instant health potions. The last thing I wanted to do to gear up was to rotate my lectern next to my villager so I could try and get a mending trade. After a couple days of rotating this lectern over and over, I finally got one, and I traded for 3 mending books. I then put all 3 of the mending books on my armor, and after finishing that, I went outside and took a peek at what was inside the book. There were coordinates saying it was to Mount Olympus. I followed the set of coordinates and it led me to a statue. This looked pretty similar to one I found in my previous 100 days, so I was assuming that it was pointing me in the direction that it wanted me to go. And after a few days of heading in that direction, I found some sort of strange temple that was floating on clouds. I was hoping this didn't send me on a wild goose chase. I then mined a bunch of stone in order to pillar up to it and bridge to it, and once I was on top, night had struck. I searched all over the temple the entire night and was completely puzzled, as it seemed completely empty. I ended up waiting all the way until the sunrise on day 200, and all of a sudden a gateway opened up and the ceiling was covered in stars. I then went into the center beam and started to float towards the ceiling.
What is going on?
And once I reached the top, I was transported to Mount Olympus. I wasn't entirely sure what opened up the gateway, but I made sure to put on my Hades invisibility helmet and began to climb the staircase. I was really hoping that the weapons that Hephaestus had given me would be enough to defeat Zeus. I then began to climb the main staircase, and then...
Huh?
We meet again, Zeus.
What makes you think you can stand any chance in my domain when you ran away on your own turf?
Well, as you can see, I'm much better equipped than last time.
I'll send you back down to the pits of Tartarus.
I drank my potions immediately as Zeus began to charge me. I knew this was going to be a really tough battle and was hoping these weapons would be enough to be the difference maker. I started to land some hits and noticed I was doing a lot more damage now. I also noticed these weapons had some special abilities too. One of them had some sort of dash ability. I threw down my first potion and Zeus began striking me with lightning, which luckily I was able to dodge. But all of a sudden he did something I had not seen before. He struck a ton of lightning, which left blue particles on the ground that did damage to me over time. I managed to get out of the puddle, but then got slapped away into the air. I threw down a potion and ate some food, and Zeus is starting to do pretty good damage to me by knocking me into the air and making me take fall damage. As I got him to about half HP, the clouds became very dark, and he started to spawn in mini tornadoes. I tried shooting arrows at Zeus, but the tornadoes in front of him acted as a blockade.
You've got to be joking me.
The tornadoes were invincible as well. He started to cast even more lightning now, and he was surrounded in tornadoes. I went in again to try and get some more hits, but I had to play extremely carefully.
Why are there so many tornadoes? Oh my gosh.
I landed a couple bow shots as well, and Zeus struck down a ton of lightning.
Okay, gotta run. Whoa, what the heck was that?
As I got Zeus lower and lower, he began to get even stronger. I tried to land even more hits on him with my Blades of Chaos, but he knocked me away and struck down a ton more lightning. And this time he was using a strange ability, which casted giant lightning bolts. I had to be really careful not to get hit by one of those. I finally created some distance and saw an opening and started to hit him as many times as I could. There were way more tornadoes around this time, so I did not want to get sucked into one of them.
Oh my gosh. No. Oh my goodness, that was close. Okay, run away.
I had no idea how I got knocked so far into the air, but I managed to survive. But while kiting away, I realized there were supercharged invisible creepers. I then got knocked onto the roof and pearled down.
How in the world did that happen?
And at this point, Zeus was getting really low, so I knew I had to finish him off while I could. I created more distance and tried to bow him down even more, but he would not stop charging me. He summoned in even more supercharged creepers, and I tried to focus those down first so I wouldn't die. I managed to take them all out with my bow and was forced to pearl away to create distance. I realized shortly after, though, that I had cornered myself and there were tons of tornadoes surrounding me now. I tried to do some more damage and realized I was out of potions, so I was forced to place down my shulker box and take out the spare potions I had. I drank another strength and speed potion and water bucketed again to save my life and was getting charged by even more supercharged creepers. I managed to take them all out and knew now was the time to try and finish off Zeus. I got knocked into the air once again and broke my fall. Tried to do as much damage as I could.
Come on, is he dead? Wait, what's happening? Wait, what's going on? Hello? Zeus? What? What's happening? Oh no, a tornado. I can't move! You gotta be kidding me! Oh, man, what?
Hey, wake up, sleepyhead.
What? How the heck? Cloudberry? How the heck did I end up on one cloud again? Oh man, another 100 days here. I wonder how the heck that's gonna go for me.
If you made it this far, make sure to leave a like on the video, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.